That's on the side. Should be. It's a different property. I'm looking for the guys.
I think we can get started.
Sure.
I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Plan Commission of the Village of Morton for Monday, April 28, 2025. We have a roll call.
Opperly.
Here.
Knapp.
Here.
Barton.
Here.
Ritterbusch.
Here.
Yordi. Keach.
Here.
Zobrist.
Here.
Sorelli.
Here.
And Guile.
Okay, so tonight we have one item on a public hearing and some other business to take care of. So we just have the one item, and usually we have our council read a statement. Are you going to do that, Zach?
Should we do our minutes first?
Oh, yes, we should. We need to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Does anybody have any comments or corrections?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I got ahead of myself there. Mr. McGrath was not here last time. Did we just go with my explanation of the public hearing? Is that
That'd be
what we did
perfect.
last time?
That'd be perfect.
So basically, a public hearing, the petitioner will be making a presentation. We will have the opportunity to ask him questions. The public will be given an opportunity to come and speak at the microphone if they wish to. And then the public comments section stops, and we have an opportunity to discuss it as a board. And we will decide to either approve or disapprove. Our approval means that it gets passed on to the village trustees, and they are the final say on these special uses and other petitions. So with that being said, let's start in on the first one. It's only one petition, only one public hearing item today. It's petition 25-02 SP. Subject property is located at 420 East Washington Street. A petition has been filed requesting a special use at this property. The current zoning is R1. The proposed change would be an R1 with a special use permit to permit a publicly owned park. And so I believe the Park District is the petitioner, and so I would invite Mr. Dickerson to come forward and just make his presentation.
Thank you all. Joel Dickerson, the Executive Director with the Morton Park District, 349 West Birchwood here in Morton.
And you'll need to be sworn in.
Thank you all for taking the time to consider this development at 420 East Washington Street. I provided a site plan detail for all of you. Have worked with the Village of Morton staff to come up with this design for a potential dog park in this location. We only have one dog park in town, that's out at Oakwood Park. The Park Board of Commissioners has come up with the plan for this to be a dog park in town, specifically due to its accessibility for walking. That people currently who have a dog don't have the ability to walk a dog to our current dog park at Oakwood Park. It does see good usage, but they felt a need and a desire to develop a dog park in this location so that people would be able to walk to it. The plan, as you can see, has an area separated for large dogs and small dogs. That would be consistent with the national standard for dog park construction. And in addition, has a 6-foot fence around the large dog park area. That would be a black vinyl coated chain link fence. And around the small dog park area would have a 4-foot black vinyl coated chain link fence. We are looking at adding, I believe it's about 6 off-street parking spots there as well, just to be able to accommodate anybody that may be driving to that location, but we do anticipate that the majority of the usage of this park would be by pedestrians. We do plan on adding some signage to designate it as one of our public parks, as well as an irrigation system to help maintain the turf quality that will obviously get some wear and tear from having dogs in the location. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Joel, is this a lighted park, or is it?
We're going to add one light. You can see itemized on the site plan, the pad of concrete, kind of kidney shape there, kidney bean shape, will have one light. We're currently looking at solar application for that. So to do a new solar light in that location that would provide security over the evening hours. That's also the main purpose of using chain link fence there, is just to allow police officers, when they're on patrol, to be able to view through the space, so we would know who's at the property at all times.
What would the park hours be?
Consistent with all of our park hours, so 5 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Is it locked after that, the chain link fence?
It would not be locked,
Oh,
no. Morton Police is charged with enforcing Park District ordinance, so they would monitor that through patrol.
Any other questions from the board? Is there any, thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
Mr. Dickerson. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak to this issue? Okay, come and be sworn in, and so give your name and address.
Sure. My name is Chad Hooley, and I own a couple different properties in that location of where the dog park is being proposed. One of which is right across the street at 214 South 4th Avenue. I also own 209 South 4th Avenue. And I have two houses on either side of 4th Street at 216 Washington and 508 Washington Street here in Morton. So I don't currently live there at those residences, but I do have interest in the space. So I have a couple concerns around this, obviously a lot more. I was able to talk to Joel here before this meeting, so we did go through a couple of these questions and whatnot, but this is more or less the first time that I'm hearing of this. And maybe that's a fault on my side, but I did get this letter in the mail to my current residence where I reside, and that's why I'm showing up today, because this is kind of the first time I'm really hearing that it's being proposed as a dog park. I knew that the Park District had purchased this. Obviously, I have properties there, right? So I heard through the city, Jamie, who's been out on my properties multiple times, talked to him, and he, kind of said, "Hey, this is, owned by the Park District," but never heard really what the use was for. I thought it would be more or less a playground type area. My concerns with it being a dog park are many, right? So you asked the hours of operation or what would happen after 11 p.m. Is it locked? It's not, so somebody can still go in there with their dog at any point in time throughout the night. Cops usually roll through there about every half an hour to an hour from what I've seen when I'm working on my properties, so it's not always heavily watched. But they do have a really good presence there around the area, but it could still be used after hours, and it could still be used by people that don't have their dogs attended to properly, not on a leash. One of my questions is, how are the dogs that are there, are they only allowed to be registered with the city? If they're not, is that being patrolled at all to see if the animals are vaccinated? My concern there is if they get out and they get over to my yard, or there's a kid out playing and they get bit, I have some concerns around that. Just more or less, does Morton have a dog catcher on staff? If these animals get out and they're kind of running around, who will herd these if they can? What if there's a dog fight that's in there and it gets really vicious and it kind of gets out of control, not just with two dogs, but multiple dogs? So I have some concerns around that. We did talk about parking, which Joel was very nice and said, hey, we can maybe talk a little bit more about what that fence would look like, if we can put up some privacy slats. Where the parking is proposed, with people coming in and out, it would put headlights into my houses through their windows, regardless if there's curtains or not. You still see a flash through those. And with newer cars, they've got the auto bright, right? Nobody seems to know how to work those things, but they could be on. You could get brighted, and now I got a disturbance for somebody that's a second or third shift attendant. Tenant, I mean, that's working some sort of a shift at work, so it's a disturbance to them. You guys don't hear those. I do. If there's a smell to there as well, I don't know who's attending to pick up the extra stuff if nobody else picks that up. But if it gets a little overwhelming, there could be a stench that's there as well. Again, you guys don't hear that. I hear that, and then I have to come back and bring that to you guys as well. Some of my other concerns here really are just like, you know, has there been any other proposals for the property, or is it always just going to be a dog park? From talking with Joel, it sounds like we have multiple parks here in Morton, 14-ish in the ballpark of those. One which is right outside these doors. Has any other location been planned to have a dog park to house these guys, or has it always been that location and that was what it was purposely bought for? Setback of the fence from the road as well. Will there be any privacy there, or are we always listening to dogs barking, playing, being in that area or not? Do you guys need to ask any other questions, or can I keep rambling? Good. Is there any other, like, you know, hours of operation you said is from 5 until 11? It seems a little excessive for, again, operations that happen there through that little area. And as you guys already know, that's a very congested area for traffic. 90% of the time, people don't even stop at that stop sign or the stop signs that are there. There's 4 of them. I've sat there and watched multiple people kind of go through there. So if something gets hit and it's in my yard, am I obligated now to address this, or am I in any form or fashion liable? Without there being a fence currently on my properties, am I allowed to put fencing up in case these dogs get out or any of the other animals get out? Or am I not grandfathered in to any of those restrictions at all? I know you said that there is one dog park on the north side at Oakwood Park. It's a kind of, in my opinion, a dual-purpose park. It has a playground. It has a dog area as well. Was that proposed for this area to even have any option for children to play in this area aside from just dog owners? Is it an option to repurpose this to only be a playground area instead of it being an actual dog park? And Joel, I think I asked you one more time here, other than a chain link fence, is there something else that we could do there a little bit more decorative, which was on the previous meeting, so I appreciate that, thank you. And then you said the solar light that was there, you had a solar light that you would put in. Is there an option to do any other lighting there, or have the lighting on a restricted time base given the seasons that occur? I didn't know how tall that light would be there. Do you know how tall that light plans to be there? Is it on a pole, fixed pole, or is it ground application? Okay. Yeah, I think that's all my questions, my concerns that I have for now. But like I said, this is kind of the first I was hearing of it being turned into a dog park, so hopefully this is the right location. So, you guys need anything from me?
Are there any questions for the gentleman with the, no? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you guys very much for letting me speak. Appreciate it.
All right, so is there anyone else from the community who would like to speak? Okay. Hearing none, we will close the public comment.
Is there an opportunity for Joel to answer, or Joel to answer this?
Sure. Would you have more for Joel? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, related to the comments. I mean, I think since we already have a dog park, one could assume that any incidences would be similar, right?
Right.
So as far as, you know, some of the things he concerns, smell, dog bites, dog getting on the loose, do you have any idea on how often those
As far as dogs getting on the loose, and I know he referenced being on a leash, the point of a dog park is so you can have a place
Right.
for dogs to
And
be
you know,
off
you
of
usually
a
have like a
leash.
double gate system.
Yep, and that is on the site plan. Did you all receive the site plan? Okay. There are two separate secondary containment areas of fencing, one for the small dog area, one for the large dog area, essentially like a lock, right? You go in through one area, close a gate, and you're still not into the dog park.
Yeah.
Then you go through a second gate, you're in there. So as far as liability concerns are, as far as there are liability concerns, the liability from a pet is always the owner's responsibility. So if a dog were to get loose, that liability would land on the owner's responsibility.
Right, right. And obviously you have that just from them walking their dogs.
Right.
But do you know, are there a significant amount of dogs getting loose from the current parks
No.
area?
No, I mean.
And then fights, are there anything where like there has been police presence to deal with fights at the dog park?
In the
or-
10 years that I've been here, I can recall two instances where we had to have someone come because two dogs got into a fight. I mean, when you get dogs into an area, I think eventually it's inevitable that some of them won't personality-wise get along. But there is signage that will be at this park that, you know, if you have an aggressive dog, a dog with aggressive temperament, we ask you not to use this location. It's also one of the main purposes of separating the small dog area from the large dog area. That seems to be where a lot of the confrontation happens, and actually the two scenarios that we have had were both scenarios where a small dog was let into the large dog area, and the small dog actually was the aggressor in the situation, so.
And then smell, I've been out to the one in Oakwood, I don't
Yeah.
ever really know it's mine. I know you're supposed to pick up your own dog stuff.
Yep.
Do you have, is park staff go out there periodically and look to see
So
if there was?
we will provide bags and garbage receptacles there. Those garbage receptacles get emptied 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Our park maintenance staff mows every property that we have at least once a week. This one maybe twice a week due to it being irrigated. And our park maintenance staff in an area this small would be able to go out and scan the area and pick up anything before they mow. It's our goal, obviously, always to maintain clean, safe spaces as well. So, we don't want to smell coming from any of our parks either, so we would do everything within our power to minimize that.
And your thought is, I know there is parking, but your intention is that people can walk to this park.
Right.
Right, so while there will be people that drive there, hopefully people will be walking.
Pedestrian access is what we anticipate the majority of the usage being.
Now, will the lighting be on all night, or does it go off?
So it would be on a photo cell, most likely, where it would come on when it gets dark and it would turn off at a certain time. We can set those hours and parameters a lot of times within those lighting systems.
It's a catch-22 though, because if you want to make sure it's being safe, you don't
Right.
necessarily want it dark.
What I can tell you is all the lights that we would purchase would come with a photometric study that would make sure that there's no overspill from the property.
That's what,
Yep.
the next question I had.
These are going to be lights that are mounted
Straight
pointing
down.
down.
Yeah.
And I didn't drive out there. Do you know like where the street lights are in that area? Are there street lights around that property?
I'd have to look.
Usually there's an intersection, there's one at.
There are
just
street
about-
lights in the vicinity. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you
Yeah.
exactly where those are
Mhm.
off the top of my head.
Joel, on your hours for a dog park, 5 AM, that could be pre-dawn. 11 o'clock for sure is past dusk.
Right.
No matter what kind of park it was, that close to residential area isn't ideal to me if I lived across the street. So, I don't, personally, I'm not so much opposed to the use, but I'm not real excited about the hours.
Yeah.
It seems like it ought to be daylight.
We do have one park property. We have one park property, Ulrich Wildlife Preserve, which we do have more restrictive hour usage on than we do at all of our other parks. That one is a dawn till dusk time. I am certain that if that was something that the village wanted the park board to consider, that the park board would be amenable to that.
And Joel, just on the usage, I'm sure like the demand is, you're meeting a demand
Right.
here, like walkability, there's multi unit in the area.
Right.
And it's a unique piece. I mean, it's not designed for everything, like a
Right.
large-scale playground or something.
And it has been sitting vacant for quite a while.
Correct.
Yeah, when the park board considered this property and what the possibilities can be, we always look at the current inventory of what we have in our parks. We obviously have a number of playgrounds and parks that are specifically designed for children to play. We have a lot of athletic parks that are specifically designed for whether that's baseball, softball, soccer, football, whatever it may be. We do, however, have an ordinance against dogs in most of those parks. Any park that our park district has where we have organized athletics, we do not allow dogs on or off leash in those parks. So if you can just kind of think off the top of your head, that's most of our parks. Oakwood, we allow dogs off leash in the dog park. At Northwood Park, due to its size and kind of remote nature, we allow dogs on leash at that park. Ulrich Wildlife Preserve, we allow dogs on leash at that location. And then on the bike trail and Lakewood Park, we also allow dogs on leash. But we really don't have many opportunities for dogs to have a place to be off leash. When you brought up the idea of, or the fact of multifamily units that are close in that area, there are a number of apartment complexes that are in the immediate vicinity of that, where those renters don't necessarily have fenced-in yards of their own to be able to use for their pets. So that was one of the items that was considered by the board as far as the location goes. That led to them thinking that this would be a prime location to put a dog park.
So is there, this is a question for maybe Craig or Zach, is there like a walking or bike trail planned in the future right by that location? Seems like there's a space
I've heard ideas, but
for a
nothing
bike
actually.
trail right next to behind the new
Sure.
building.
I haven't seen anything on paper. I've heard ideas about bike trails everywhere in Morton, to be honest with you. I know that's a big
Yeah.
focus of a lot of people. I know that's been talked about, but I've actually never heard about how it actually would work and how it would
Okay.
get from that point through town. I have
Mhm.
no idea.
Any other questions for Mr. Dickerson? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead. You need to probably go up for the microphone.
So you said, Karen, that we do have the park out on the north side of town. And again, instances are only as good as they get reported. So there could be more issues happening out there. I don't know if you've checked with Tazewell County Health Department, if they've had any issues with any dogs coming in saying that they've been around other dogs, or there's an issue with any diseases or anything that's happening. I'm sure they're not. But I'm just saying, if they haven't been confronted, there might be more situations there than proposed. But you had mentioned that there was one north of town and that you have visited it. And it is clean. I do live out that way as well, so I do drive past it 2-3 times a day, actually. And it is a very nice park. It's very nice. It's large, but it is in the country. It's not in the city. So when dogs bark, you don't hear it. If they're off the leash, you really don't care. So those are kind of my concerns, because you said that it's going to be a double fenced-in area, but it's not going to be fenced in from inside to where the cars are parked, right? So if they come outside of the park, if I had the drawing there, if they come outside of the park where the cars come in and out where they're parking, doesn't mean that they're going to always be, but the requirement would be that they're on leash. That's my point, is they can come out of that park all amped up, they take off jetting through there, right? They're kind of in a stage of excitement. I'm not sure what would really happen to them at that point. So I just wanted to clarify, though, that for north of the town, some of the things that you've called out, that you probably don't have those instances because they are not in town, and when things happen out in the city, outside of the city limits, kind of out in the edge of town, you're not really going to hear those dogs barking or complaining. So, and I know my fellow neighbors are not here tonight that live directly across the street as well. There's about 3-4 houses there. I don't see them here voicing any concerns either, but I'm sure they have some opinions around it as well, as they do and do not have pets up there. So I appreciate it. Thank you again.
Thank you. Okay, so any discussion?
Should we have change the lighting, or we leave it as is? Or can we recommend?
For the lighting, like the
Yeah.
lighting hours?
Lighting hours, yeah.
I mean,
So here's what we're doing today, is we're just approving or disapproving a special use.
Correct.
The specific details of the design actually go between the Park District and the village.
Okay.
So we don't specify the details from,
So we can't recommend anything?
I mean, your comments are on record, and, perhaps they would go in the record, but we don't approve it contingent upon anything like that. We're just asked if this is a good special use.
If I could say though, I know we've done approvals in the past we've approved land use changes with added landscape. So I guess I'm only willing to approve this if it had dawn to dusk hours. So I don't see why we couldn't make a motion that said that, therefore it's going to the village that way. They could overrule it,
Sure.
but at least we are saying that's our recommendation, which is all we're doing.
And the board would receive all these transcripts. I'd work with Lee, and we'd get everything set up so they would get the minutes from both of these meetings tonight, so.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I agree that I think we ought to limit the hours. I think dusk to dawn type of thing is the best way to deal with this.
Any other comments?
I think Commissioner Knapp also, if she had something that she wanted to recommend on hours of the lighting.
well, and I think the lighting's a hard one, because I look at it from both perspectives. You obviously don't want the lighting inconveniencing neighbors, but you also want it to be able to be patrolled and be able to evaluate if there's anything going on. And so I'm hopeful that, like they said, they're gonna do a study on how much the spillover is, right? And if it's too bright, hopefully Joel's willing to work with that and limit the hours later on. Would be my take on it.
So I have a comment. I feel like maybe the dog park is one of the more controlled things you could do in that spot. If you put a playground there, I guess you could still fence it. Yeah, but that is a very busy intersection. It's not like it's a very serene location in
The shape
Morton.
of the property itself kind of dictates what could
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I feel like it would probably get a lot of use. There's a lot of dog walking going on around town. A lot of people have dogs. Any other comments? Any discussion? So we could make a recommendation with some contingencies in it, but I guess the village could, they don't have to approve our contingencies either. I mean, they just heard they get to hear what we think. So,
And the only contingency we have is the hours. Is that, am I correct in saying that? Is that our contingency?
somebody has to make a motion,
Okay.
but I don't know.
Just
Lighting is
discussion.
Yeah,
probably.
so lighting was discussed. I personally would prefer just the hours and leave the lighting.
If I could just briefly speak to lighting, we have parks like in Crown Park, a soccer park, which has 7-foot tall light poles that do get used on occasion till 11 o'clock at night. And there are residents within that vicinity. Obviously, we want to do everything within our power to limit the impact that it's going to have on the neighbors as well. And like Ms. Neff said here, that we would absolutely consult the studies and make sure that that's going to be appropriate lighting.
It's a design issue.
I do like the lighting from a security standpoint. That area is pretty heavily patrolled. It's on their circuit. I could agree with the dusk to dawn hours if we want to make that recommendation. But that photometric study, I mean, those things aren't wrong. you know. But from a security standpoint, I do agree with it.
Well, I think lighting is one thing, and hours of use are another, so I really like the idea of limiting the hours too, so that somebody's not there with barking dogs at 5 in the morning, or 11 o'clock at night. I think the dusk to dawn is a good idea, too.
I'd make a motion to approve, subject to the hours being dusk to dawn, and that appropriate lighting studies are designed for the property.
I'll second it.
Do you mean dawn to dusk?
Yes, I'm sorry. That'd be defeating the purpose.
I like
Amendment, I agree with that.
If I could just add something on that, you know, there was concern at 5 a.m. with the dog barking and disturbing individuals. Here in another month or so, it's going to be pretty light at 5 a.m. So just keep in mind.
So that's valid, yeah. It's dawn anyway.
Yeah. Hopefully their dogs aren't barking.
So we have a motion by Zobrist, and did we have a second as well?
Second.
Morton. Okay.
So, without further discussion, we can do a roll call.
Okay. Knapp,
Yes.
Ritterbusch,
Yes.
Sorelli,
Yes.
Keach,
Yes.
Zobrist,
Yes.
Opperly,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So that closes our public hearing. We have some other business tonight. There's an easement vacation plat for lots 80 and 81 in Wolf Crossing, and the PIN numbers are given there on the agenda. Zach, is that something you can speak to a little bit?
Sure. So this is going to be on the west end of Timberwolf Drive out there in Wolf Crossing. There's a gentleman that's going to be combining 2 lots at the end of that cul-de-sac area. And this is basically just our part of the process of vacating those utility easements. Exactly like how we did last month at our PC meeting. No permitting will happen, no construction will start until basically we get all the sign-offs from all of the utility companies to just confirm that they are releasing their right to be there.
Okay. So you would need a motion to approve that from us.
Yes,
Any
sir.
discussion about that from anybody? Then let's have a motion.
I make a motion that we adopt the vacation day easement.
Second.
First and second. Roll call?
Sorelli,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
Ritterbusch,
Yes.
Yordi, not here. Opperly,
Yes.
Keach,
Yes.
Zobrist,
Yes.
and Barton.
Yes.
Passes.
Any other business from the village tonight?
Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A movement.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.